What's up guys? Welcome to today's daily tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you the shapeshifter color change, how to take a card and change it into another one. It's a super cool, very visual color change. You end clean, which means you don't have to like hide anything afterwards. It's so cool. Let me show you once again. You take a card like the Queen of Diamonds and it changes to another card like the Nine of Clubs. If you guys are excited to learn this, hit that like, hit that subscribe because I post these every day, and let's get into it. Right before I go into the in-depth tutorial on how to do this move, let me explain to you guys why I think it's so cool. What I love about this move is that it looks good on camera, but it also looks good in person. A lot of color changes, they look really cool from one angle, a fixed angle from a camera, good for Instagram, good for TikTok, but it's not good in person. This is something you can do with a lot of people around you. It's not super angle sensitive, so you can do it for one person, big groups. It's just a really cool color change and it happens instantly, and it's so visual and it's so cool. So I hope you're excited to learn it. Let's get into the actual tutorial now. You know you're a magician when you have all these cards on the floor. But anyways, let me teach you guys how to do the shapeshifter change. Let me show you from behind what it looks like as the magician. It looks like that. The card just changes instantly. It's such a cool color change. It happens so fast. It's so smooth. And let me teach you how to do this. So you're gonna start with the deck in dealer's grip. I've taught this before. You take the cards with your non-dominant hand, thumb over here, pointer in front, middle, ring, pinky on this side, just like this. Then take the top card and get what's called a pinky break. I've taught this briefly in my double lift video, but the way you get a pinky break is either to do a pinky count, where you use your pinky to count down one card, and then you put your pinky there so that this card is separated from the deck, or the easier way is you use your thumb to push over the card when people aren't looking, move it back, so you have your pinky break. From here, take the top card and put it on the deck. This is really cool because this color change makes it look like you're really only using one card, right? Because they see you take this card off the deck. So anyone who might think you're doing something with two cards, that suspicion is kind of eliminated. Even though you do end up taking two cards, the fact that you start with one is super convincing that you're only using a single, right? So once again, you take this card, get a pinky break, put the card back on top, and here is how you do the move. You're gonna use your fingers to prop up this card like this. So all I did was I took my ring finger, so right now I have a pinky break, right? But I took my ring finger to help kind of push it up like this. Because you're about to grab the card with your dominant hand, and you need more than just a pinky break to grab it well. All right, so once again, take your ring finger, kind of prop up the cards. So now these two cards are separated completely from the deck. Now, take your dominant hand, put your thumb in this corner, middle finger in the opposite corner, and slightly turn the card like this, away from the deck. So now you have these two cards like this. You're gonna take your non-dominant hand, or your dealer's grip hand, and then grab the opposite corners with your thumb and ring finger. All right, some people might use their middle. I like using my ring finger. I think it's just more comfortable, but play with whichever you think is more comfortable for you. But once you have the cards like this, here's where you do the move. All you're gonna do is take your dealer's grip hand and move the corners down. So I'm not doing anything with my dominant hand. All I'm doing here is moving my left hand like this. All I'm doing is moving my thumb and my ring finger down. I'm just curling these corners downwards. Then all that's gonna happen is I'm gonna release with my thumb and my ring finger, and the card is gonna spin. Okay, quick interruption. This is super important, so please listen. So throughout this video, you'll hear me say that your dominant hand doesn't do that much. It's really just your non-dominant hand that squeezes the cards down and it flicks them like that, right? But there's a tiny little thing that your dominant hand has to do that if you don't do it, the spin is not gonna work, okay? So for the rest of the video, just keep this in mind. With your dominant hand, while your non-dominant hand is squeezing down, your dominant hand is slightly applying upwards pressure. So you want to imagine that with your dominant hand, you're slightly just tugging upwards. If you don't tug upwards, the cards might hit your finger a lot more frequently, and they might not spin how you want them to. They might not spin at all. So it's really important with your dominant hand, just slightly apply upwards pressure. The cards will still be bent downwards because of your non-dominant hand doing this, but with your dominant hand, just slightly tug upwards. That will build up tension in the card to spin exactly how you want it to. So if while practicing the card isn't really spinning, really remember that tip. Remember to apply upwards pressure with that dominant hand. Let's get back into the rest. So there's only a few problems that you'll run into at the beginning, provided you have the grip right. So here are the few problems so that I can help you guys troubleshoot. One problem could be that you don't spin the cards fast enough. and then it doesn't really flip over, right? Or it doesn't flip over enough, like that. Or you could spin too hard and the card spins too much. Let me see if I can get that on purpose. Like that. So it spins too much, and then people see that there's two cards. Another problem that you could run into is the cards hitting your hand. And this is probably gonna be the most common problem that a lot of you guys run into, especially if you have smaller hands. I know I started Magic when I was 12, so stuff like this, the corner would constantly hit my hand, and it would be so difficult to get it to go exactly how I wanted to. This is just gonna take practice of extending your fingers like this. Not really your fingers, but more your hand. So notice when I do the move, I don't do it like this with my hands close to the surface of the cards, because then it will not spin. So I really focus on extending my palm. You kind of want to make a rainbow right here. Really focus on that rainbow. That's going to allow the card to spin fully. Again, this might be hard if you have smaller hands, but really focus. Instead of having your hand down here, really create that arch or that rainbow so that the card can fully spin. But what's really cool, guys, is once you get this, you end clean, like I said in the beginning of the video. What that means is you don't have to do something fancy to hide this card. You don't have to hide it somewhere, do some crazy fancy moves with your hands. What's really cool about this is once you finish the move, all you need to do is drop the two cards on the deck, and now you're left clean, right? Because now this card is on the deck. So once you do the move, you do the shapeshifter, you just put both cards on the deck, hand them this card now that it changed, and you can do like a shuffle or something so that if they're suspicious about the top card, it's not that anymore. That is how you do the shapeshifter change, guys. Keep practicing. You might not get it first try. You probably won't get it first try. But once you keep practicing, you'll learn how to apply the right amount of pressure. You'll learn how to not hit your hand, and it's gonna be epic. Okay, so now that you've learned the mechanics on how to actually do the move, you're gonna get to see me teach my girlfriend Cassie right now, and it's gonna be really cool because you actually get to see what the process is like of attempting and failing, attempting and failing, attempting and succeeding. I think it's really cool to have this segment. I love that Cassie does this with me so that I can teach her. She won't be in every single video, but in a lot of these tutorials, you guys can expect her in these so you can really see what the process is actually like when you're learning. Because some of you guys might be a little frustrated. It might be a little hard. You might be hitting your hand over and over. You might not be able to spin it exactly how you want to. But honestly, guys, it's just gonna take practice. And you'll see that whole process right now with Cassie. So don't feel discouraged if you're not getting it perfectly yet. I do not expect you to, nor should you be able to. If you're able to get it first try consistently, you're a legend. I don't know how you do it if you do, because for me it took a lot of practice when I learned this. But anyways, yeah, let's get Cassie in here. It's Cassie!
Hola!
Alright, Cassie, today I'm gonna teach you, boom, the shapeshifter change. Really cool way to change a card. That was really cool, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, I just watched you do this, and like, I know that there's a trick, but I don't see it.
Right? Even if you know how it's done, it's so fast, you don't even notice it. So I'm gonna teach you how to do that right now. Cassie,
yes.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I am gonna give you half the, you know what? I was gonna give you half the cards so you can practice. Guys, honestly, to practice, you might not even need the deck. Just practice the move with two cards, and then after you really get it down, then you can use the rest of the deck. All those cards right now are kind of an obstruction to what I'm really trying to get you to learn, right? Mm-hmm. So eventually you can add in the deck, because obviously in a real situation, you're not gonna only use two cards, you're gonna use the whole deck. But to practice the move itself, you can practice with just the two cards and then add the deck later. Take your right hand and grab the non-index corners. So for those of you who have no idea what that means, the index corners are the corners that have the indexes, right? Where it says what it is. Queen, 4, 5, 6, where it says what it is. That's called the index corners.
I'm a magician's girlfriend and I didn't even know that.
Yeah, learn something new every day, right? So the index corners are where the values are. That's just a fancy way of saying it. So grab the non-index corners with your right hand. Perfect. If you're left-handed, you will be grabbing the index corners because the roles are reversed, right? But if you're right-handed, it'll be the non-index corners, like us. We're both right-handed. With your left hand, grab the index corners. Now you're getting all the magician terminology. Whoa. With your thumb and ring finger.
And ring finger.
Perfect.
Like, I call this the spider. The itsy bitsy spider.
Okay, well anyways, with your non-dominant hand, apply pressure downwards. So for you, it's your ring finger and thumb of your left hand. There you go. Make the rainbow with your hand so it doesn't hit your hand. Okay, all you're gonna do, this pressure you have built up in your left hand, release that pressure and remove your fingers. That's okay. What happened was the card spun the other way. which means you released with your ring finger before your thumb. Whoa. Think of it as removing your thumb before your ring finger, because it's supposed to spin towards them, if that makes sense. Okay, yours spun away, it's supposed to spin towards your spectator or towards your camera. Make sure you're not holding the cards too tight, because if you're holding too tight, the card's not gonna wanna spin. You have to hold it somewhat light so that the cards are able to spin around.
Okay.
Squeeze the cards down and release. I told you guys when I said I was gonna be teaching her, this is what happens, you know? Like, you mess up, it's okay. You're not gonna get it first try. If you're confused about anything, you can always rewatch the video. It's gonna take a lot of trial and error. There's always little intricacies of things you kind of learn on your own. I'm doing my absolute best to teach you guys, but the only way you're ever gonna actually get it is by practicing. It takes so much practice. And I just want you to get it once. Oh, that was actually a lot better. You gotta hold it to the camera though so they can see.
Okay, ready?
Believe in yourself. Oh, there you go. So stay how you are right now though. Okay, so this, she got it to spin, but this is actually a problem that you don't wanna have. So what happened was the card spun, but then she ended with her hand up. It's gonna be really fishy if you start like this and end like this, right? It's gonna look like you turned over a card. For that matter, you might as well just turn over your hand. You might just go, it changed, right? Because that's kind of what happens when you do the flick, but then you move your hand. It just looks like you turned it over, right? The whole point is that your dominant hand stays still, okay? And then the card just spins in that little hole of your hand. That was the best one you've gotten so far. That was really good.
Can we end on a good note?
We'll end on a good note.
Okay.
That was good. Okay, so obviously guys, it's not perfect, but it's much better than when you started. So again guys, some pro tips. Don't have your hand too close, make that cradle so it can spin. Don't turn your hand over, and then obviously just play with the amount of pressure you put on the cards, because not enough, it won't spin. Too much, it'll spin too much. But guys, just keep at it. Here's what we're gonna do. Once you can get it perfect, you're gonna be practicing on your free time, okay?
I am.
Once she can get it, I'm gonna post a story on my Instagram at The Card Guy, and you guys make sure you're following so you can see that story when she gets it right. It's gonna be awesome.
I will practice every waking minute.
That was creepy. All right, good job, Cassie. You killed it.
Hey.
Keep practicing. All right, y'all, Cassie is literally in the corner of my room practicing right now. She is so awesome. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial of the shapeshifter change. One pro tip I forgot to mention. When you do the move, kind of lift your hands up. It just kind of hides the spin more. There's a phrase in Magic, big motion covers little motion. So if you do just like a little thing, like lift your hands a little more, it distracts from the fact that the card kind of spun a little bit. But yeah, something as simple as kind of lifting your hands when you do it, it hides that motion better and it makes it completely invisible. So guys, keep practicing like you saw with Cassie, and I'm sure those of you who are practicing this with a deck of cards as we speak, it's hard. You're not gonna get it first try, so keep at it. Like I said, follow me on Instagram. Once she gets it, we're gonna make a story. It's gonna be awesome. And also follow my TikTok, same exact username, The Card Guy. And of course, guys, if you enjoyed the tutorial, I make these every single day, so don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out, guys.